Hello everyone, I'm Havoc and this is Factorio. We are back yet again. I'm starting out right over here by our power to show off the fact that I did, between the episodes, go ahead and increase the amount of power production we have because we're going to be expanding the factory. We're barely using anything right now because we have pretty much nothing running. And that is because we are caught up with research and our mall should also be pretty stocked, so next to nothing is actively running, but when it does kick on, I want to make sure that I have enough power. So today, oh, another thing I would like to show you before we get started, I was cleaning up over here a little bit to move things. Oh, I left a mess on the ground. Nobody saw that. No one saw that. Clean it up. There we go. Oh. Clean that up. All right. Yes. So I did go ahead and fix our splitter setups over here from that horribly inefficient design that was there. I just did that because I did not have splitters being made automatically. Now that I have splitters being made automatically, not red ones, I actually had to pocket craft these, but now that I have the mall running, I can do things the correct way, or is correct way. There's no correct way to play Factorio. There's just things that will bother me, and thus I try and avoid those. So this is a mechanical priority splitter that will make sure that everything is balanced as it should be, and that my output gets everything that it needs over here off to this line. And it's roughly the same setup, or it is the same, just not reds. It's yellow splitters and undergrounds here. And this keeps things balanced like it should be on down the line, which is great. Our mall is looking good. Everything's pretty much stocked. What's still going? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I was curious why that was still running because I have not grabbed any big electric poles recently. Well, that one's going to be stocked for quite a while. I'll just need to be sure that when I come over here to grab, I remember not to shift click 1,200 big electric poles into my inventory. I definitely don't have room for that, but it'll just fill my inventory. So, what I want to work on for this episode is going to be starting our real science setup. And I say that because I'm going to stop running around and make use of the map over here. I have this pretty much bled dry, right? So when I was cleaning up, I stopped supplying this. I did go ahead and make the final iron belt part of the bus like it should be. And this, there's just an excessive amount of inserters left. It ran out of the belts. No, I took the power out for the belts. Okay, that makes sense. But all this is going to be moved, and all of our research labs will be moved. I did go ahead and throw down a couple of chests just to bleed the lines dry, and then I will use those in order to stock the lines before I get started when I move the science where it's going to go. But what we want to do is look at automating these lines for real this time. I mean, I did have automated last time, but this is where they're going to stay for the foreseeable future. And I think I'm going to want to do that. Let's see, red and green science does not take a lot of space, but when you get to something like the military science or the blue, which is, I believe that's chemical science, those actually do need a little bit of room. What I may end up doing is putting a red circuit build right in here, since I can fit that in here, and then I'll probably just start the science right at the end of what we have going on here. So I do want to leave a gap, and of course it's getting dark right now. I'll stay by the lights as best I can so you can see what's going on. But yeah, so I want to leave a gap of probably at least 4 from here, right? So that's my 4 gap, and this is going to be the first feed line coming out. And reds are super easy. It's copper plate and it's iron gear wheels. So I can side load the copper plates and then just immediately place onto here gears that I feed. So that means I'm going to want to load the copper plates on the inside of this belt. That way I can output the gears to the bottom side there, the outside of it. And for that, I'm just going to run an iron line in just for making gears locally right over here. And we also want to make sure we're not getting too close. So this should be the first sets of machines making the actual science. I can sneak in a couple of our gear producing assembly machines there, and I'm actually going to expand this a little bit. So let's look at this. It takes half a second, so you're going to get 2 gears a second. This is 4 gears a second. How many seconds does it take to craft one of these? This is 5 seconds for one, which means I only need 1/5 of a gear a second per machine. So doing 5 of these, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 machines is 1 gear a second. This will make 2 gears a second. So I could supply, what is that, 10 machines off of one of these? 10 assemblers making reds. And you know what? Let's do that. I usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I usually try and do like a science pack a second or something along those lines, but you know what? Some of these sciences require more reds, more greens, or is that a modded thing? You know? Start thinking for a moment and then realizing that might not be the case, but we're just going to build it with 10 of these. 10 assemblers making reds can easily be supplied by this single assembler making gears right down here. So this one is just going to need iron coming into the side. Now, where are our labs actually going to be? I did not think about that just yet. So I might put them right down here. That means the feed output for these needs to be in this direction. And I will likely change my mind in no time. Also, because these take 5 seconds to craft, I don't need to use fast inserters. I will here. This needs to be moving fast, but everywhere else we can just use a regular inserter. And that saves on power consumption, right? Even when they're idle, they use power. So if you look at this one, the minimum consumption, which should be when it's not doing anything at all, is 400 watts. If you look at this one, it's 500 watts. But also when it's running, this one uses, the fast inserter uses 46.7 kilowatts. This one uses 13.6. Is that a third? It's not quite a third, right? 13.6. Yeah. So it's like 2.5-ish, something. I could do the math, you know, with a calculator, but I'm not that sweating it. So if we're looking at, you know, every 2.5 of these inserters would be what one of these uses when running wide open. So I'm going to use the ones that are most appropriate. These are more than fast enough for a 5-second craft time for sure. We just need to power this, which I can do by placing a power pole there. Alright, and as soon as we get iron coming in here, this will start producing. But I don't want to actually start producing yet until I get the belt fed with the backup that I have down there. So if I come down here and put a fast inserter, I can bring all of my reds, and I put it on that side on purpose so it's offloading correctly. Onto the correct side, I should say. If I get all of the reds that I have down here, I can go ahead and have it prime the line. And I'm about to pick these up. There's also science in the lab, so I am going to go ahead and pick them up as well. So I will have all of the reds in one area. Probably not, yeah, I don't have the room to carry the reds and greens at the same time. So we will dump those there. I need to clean my inventory. I really actually don't see anything super wasteful in my inventory. Some stone, some small electric poles I can put down, but nothing glaring. Alright, but if I dump all of the reds into there, it can start offloading. Let's get some lights going over here so everyone can see. But yeah, the whole point of this is to get these already on the line that I've made in advance. Alright, that I already had down there when I was bleeding that line dry. And once I get this thing empty, I will worry about turning this on, feeding it with iron. So I will have to keep an eye on that. I'm going to do the same thing with the greens. Feed them onto the belt as well. We don't have enough room to carry all those. I'm going to temporarily drop this box right here, put, just a handful of things away. I probably don't need all those turrets and grenades, and that will allow me to carry all of the greens that I want. Might need to consider lighting the walkway as well, so y'all can see. We'll see. Alright. I feel so slow over here after running down the concrete path and then all of a sudden moving sluggish. We have a lot more greens than we had reds, which I think is because I ended up... No, it has nothing to do with that. In fact, because the belts ran out there, you would think I would have less greens. How interesting. But we will get this up here and go ahead and set up the green production lines. So for the greens, you have to do a little bit of assembly before you start the greens. But what I'm going to do for that is do a production line right beside it and then feed the resources past it. So these need belts and these need inserters. It's 6 seconds to craft one. So again, this is going to be our normal inserters. And I do want to line the power poles up so that they look nice. Okay, I think the best way to do this would be to feed back in this direction. Right, and I'm probably going to end up doing 12 machines instead of the 10 because of how the math works out. And that would be that you're going to get belts and inserters at, I think it's 2 a second. I'm standing in the way. There we go. So let's take a look here. I'm fairly certain both belts and inserters are going to be... Actually, this is going to give you 4 a second because you get 2 per craft and it takes half a second. So that's 4 a second. That's not bad at all. The inserters... half a second craft time. That's the wrong one. Here it is. Half a second craft time. So you're going to get 2 a second per assembly machine. Now, 6 of these, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means I need 1 per second from that one row of 6. And this takes 1 per second as well. So I need 2 per second. This is going to give me 4 per second, so that is excessive and just fine. The inserters, it's 1 machine will make 2 per second. So I actually don't need a whole lot. What I may do is change the direction that I'm going with the feed belt for these so that I don't have to move resources all the way down there and turn around and have them come back. We're going to want how best to do this. This is going to take iron gears, and the belts are also going to take iron gears. All right, and I need 2 a second to feed that, and I need 2 a second to feed that, which means each one needs their own dedicated assembler making the gears, because I'm going to get 2 a second from a single assembler. That's very simple. I think what I'm going to do here is move this back to roughly here, because I don't want to encroach too far. I really don't want to be past this line right here. And what I'm thinking about is just directly inserting the gears with a machine, but that would require me to put another one out either side like so, or like so here. Could offset it slightly, but I don't want to take up a whole ton of space. Okay. I am going to move this back slightly and up slightly. So the output from these is going to go like so. This is going to be the belts, and this one is going to be the inserters. Now, I need iron plate and gear wheels on each of these. I know I need 2 machines making the gears. And what I'm going to do is not do that, because that would be in the way. Doing an awful lot of thinking on how to do this the best way. But I think if I sneak in here, here I am again. You know what? I'm bad about doing this, and that is I'm trying to get every last bit of space out of this, and it's going to turn around and be an issue later when I need to feed something through. So what I'm instead going to do is just move this down the line linearly. All right, so I'm going to come in here, and this is going to be iron, and we are going to grab off of this and put right back onto it like we've been doing, side loading. You go ahead and drop the power poles in nice, neat, organized ways, and that will give me the 2 ingredients that I need for the belts, but the inserters still need a green, so we will bring green circuits in as well. Now, if I come along here, I can drop that down and drop that down. This is still going to achieve the same thing. I'm just taking up space in a different manner than I was thinking about before. And we are going to output. We do need fast inserters for the outputs and the inputs here. This one, let's see. I don't know that a single long-handed inserter will be fast enough. In fact, what I'm probably going to do is wrap the green circuits around just so I can get a fast inserter going with the resources there. I do believe that should keep it moving fast enough. Ooh, yeah, we're going to move that just because I want my power pole to look as neat as possible. Now it's as simple as side loading iron to the bottom side of this belt. Right, needs to come in like so, and then getting green circuits over here. I'm out of belt. I'm not going to grab from the mall here. I'm actually going to run down to the decommissioned area of the base to pick up these. That way I'm using these up and they're not just sitting in this chest forever. And that should be plenty. As soon as we get this done, I want to work on military science. And we can expand this up as we're going. Just gives me a little faster walkway to go on. Military science is going to be really important because once I start turning all of this stuff on, I'm going to have an excessive amount of pollution being made. And I'm certain that that is going to gain the attention of the biters. I'm surprised I really haven't been hit yet. It has to be just the fact that next to nothing is running at once. Hey, what was I just saying? Oh, and somehow it's made it down to where I do not have any turrets. It's just gonna eat some things. I'm gonna grab a little ammo on the way down there. That was more than a little, but you know, we'll take it. Where are you at, bug? How dare you? Well, that was an easy kill. Let's repair and replace the things that he destroyed. Alright, so that's interesting. I'm going to drop a radar down here, and I'm also going to put a few turrets. Now that was just one biter. Not used to seeing a lonely biter at this point, maybe in the very beginning of the game, but I've been playing for a little bit now. Where did he likely come from? Oh, probably right there. Looks like they're expanding, and I'm going to need to take care of that. That's a little too close for comfort right down here. I'm probably going to use turret creep at this point to kill them. I've got plenty of ammo. Let's see how big it is. Okay. Are there no worms? There's one worm right there. Down just a few so I can run back to them. Oh, it was not enough. There we go. These down. Get these back up. I only have so much ammo. I'm right-clicking, so it's placing 100 in each one. Alright. Just going to shoot these by hand. I really don't want to lose a whole stack or half a stack of ammunition, and that worm will certainly shoot anything I put any closer. There we go. Quick and easy. That one was certainly going to be a problem, but that probably means that they're expanding. Well, it does. It's not probably. They are expanding in lots of places. And I am going to be tapping this oil right up here very soon. You might have noticed the oddly straight path blown right through the trees up here a little ways. And that's because I was thinking about coming down here to get these started, but I have a few other things to take care of first. We will drop a radar down here, put some turrets. I don't think they're going to try and come through that area. The trees are really thick there. And I'm just going to put 100 in each one. It's fine. I'm not going to sit here and take all day to split this out, but I really don't want anything sneaking up on this side to get my miners. This is dangerously close to where my coal is being mined, and that is the power for everything in my factory. I can probably sneak right over here, like so. Is that the maximum? No, there we go. I was about to say, is there a way I can get that to connect? That's great. Now I've got a little bit more vision, and this can start scanning further out, which will help me identify threats as they move in. Now what was I doing? That was a distraction right there. Back up here and see. And while I'm on the way, dump off power poles. Do I have any wood? Anything else that I want to drop off? Doesn't look like it. We're going to go with it. Okay. We need to supply our setup over here. And what I'm probably going to do actually is take this one away. That way I can go ahead and start it running, or have the resources over here without it producing science packs, because I have the backlog of science that I wanted to use first. I need to get iron here. And we're going to do... This is a bit expensive every time you want to take just a single line off. But that's okay. So you come in like so. There's a splitter that goes here. There's a splitter either side of the input to that one. And you skip a row, put a couple of splitters. That allows you to... Oh, I need undergrounds. I could go grab some, but I'm right here. We're just going to craft them. Do that, and then skip there. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Place that splitter back. And then the outputs like so. This right here is the mechanically prioritized off split for a single row. You'll see it very quickly becomes full. Even though this one was not full yet, the output was full there. It's hard to tell when it's all running and lines are backed up, but it will prioritize getting as much into this line as possible, which is obviously what we want. And then we need to do the same thing right up here. And I always like to do it like that. I start by doing the off line so that I can get everything placed correctly. And I could blueprint this, but I don't have bots yet anyways. It's not like that's very important. Okay. Also, let's pick up my mess. I don't want to leave random chests all over the map. And that should be good. I am going to wait for this to come out here and then kind of eyeball it for a second and make sure it is working properly. The only issue that I might have here is the amount of iron coming down the inside of this line. So these handle 7.5 items a second per side. So that's 7.5 iron per second. And then we are consuming... oh yeah. If we're making gears, we're consuming more iron than this is going to put on the line, which is an issue. It will be an issue for throughput if I don't correct this. So we need to upgrade this to red, which then allows 15 items a second down the one side, which will be more than enough. I should probably get some reds going. Red belts, undergrounds, and splitters being automated somewhere as well. That'll certainly help. For right now, though, I'll just craft what I need. Yeah, that looks good. So this will be ready to go as soon as we get some labs down. And in the interest of emptying my inventory, I want to get these labs out of my pocket. So let's go. And can I make 2 more just to make this nice and neat? I'm lacking a little bit of iron and gears. There we go. Let's go ahead and let that be taken care of. Now, if you want to get a whole lot of science packs in here, I suggest doing it like so. Right? So what this allows me to do is science packs, I can get reds and greens here, I can get military and blue here, and then later on I can come in with a line that runs right down through here and undergrounds, like so, and get the last 2 science packs in, right? Because there's purples and yellows. Oh, and then there's... Ooh. Then there's rocket science too. I didn't think about that one. We got a ways to worry about that. For right now, this will handle the 4 science packs that we're going to have. And if you just drop it down every 2 labs, you put it at the top corner of the lab, you should power everything. Did I do something wrong here? 2? Yes, I did, of course. And like so. And then this one has to stick out past the end. And we can run the power on the inside. We're just going to pass through with normal inserters to the back row. I can go ahead and place those in. And then I'm going to get our long-handed going. Long-handed inserters where they need to go. Nice and easy. Let's get some lighting in here to help. Looks nice. This is going to put kind of like a hard limit on the length of the mall, because now I'm going to have these belts out here, and that's okay. If I really need a whole bunch of other items, I can set up another section, a separate mall at another location for those specific items. But I have room for a few more, you know, lines down here. This is where I'm, like I was saying, I'm probably going to want to get rails automated and a few other things right in this area. That gets our red and green located where it needs to be, red and green science packs. I will go ahead and throw this line in for the military and blue science. Is that chemical science? It is chemical science, okay. Military science and chemical science. And the other ones are automation and logistics. I just call them by the colors. Most people do in the Factorio community, but it's also, I'm trying to get better about using the correct name of items rather than saying this thing and that thing. I do know some people listen to my videos and don't, watch intently at what I'm doing, so they may be lost when I'm saying this thing, that thing, and over here. And I would like to fix that. Alright. How are we doing? This setup is good. I was looking at that iron plate just being held and thought I had one of these turned backwards. But no, they're supposed to be feeding in. It's just backed up. Now, okay, so that did good. By extending the belt, we ended up working through our backlog of reds, our automation science packs, and I can finish the automation there to make sure that it's working like it should. I've got a ways to go on the greens. I'll actually have to start researching something before I can set up that line. There's nothing that I can do until I get either military or chemical science going. Now, I do want to get military going, like I said, as soon as possible. This one is going to take piercing rounds, grenades, and walls. So the grenades is going to be a little something interesting, and the walls. I need to bring stone down here, which I needed to anyways because I'm going to want to craft rails, and I need to bring coal down the line somewhere. So where do I feed these in? It's probably best for me to simply tack them on out here somewhere rather than squeeze them in, because I am potentially going to add another green line and a line of reds in this area. Steel is already a little tight. I don't want to try and fit anything beside it in case I need to break off on the other side. So that's the plan for sure. I'm going to want 4 slots. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this can be coal. And I don't know that I'm going to need stone anywhere else for anything else other than making the walls and making the rails inside the mall. So what I might do is do this line as stone and this one as coal. That sounds good. And then we'll just leave some space on either side of them. Now, the stone line is going to need to break off and go underground somewhere above here. Let's get some undergrounds, splitters. I don't want to grab those belts. I'll grab belts from down below. This is going to be stone. Then the coal will carry on up, and I'm just placing belts everywhere. We're going to stop here and actually get these belts fed with resources now, because I don't know exactly where I need to break that off just yet. So let's get down here and see. I can also clean this up. This is not even being used anymore. In fact, I can clean the entire lineup. I'm going to have so much copper plate in my inventory now. I'm going to have to go dump this manually into some machines that need it. Or actually, for now, I'll just throw it into that chest. I will be back for that. I don't like leaving messes all over the place. Random chests just full of things. It would bother me if I did so. Okay. And let's go ahead and clean this up. These, yeah, I can clean all of this up. If I have the space, how much is in there? I don't have the space to pick that chest up just yet. Uh-oh. Okay, well, none of that needs power. Thought I did something really bad for a second, but it's okay. This is good. This is getting rid of a lot of the small poles that were left all over the place. Let's swap that one out. I also don't really need this running right now. That's a decent amount of ammunition. Hey, here's a good use for this copper. Let's get that running. And making our piercing rounds. I don't have the space to pick all of that up just yet, so that's okay. Now, I'm gonna have to underground multiple times here, right? Because my stone, where is the stone at? Right here. And coal. I think it's probably best to go around everything instead of in the way or trying to squeeze through, and then later I'll be trying to squeeze something else through there. So we are going to come down here, mine stone and coal in their own individual lines. What's the best way to do this? I can take this away. What am I making over here? Concrete. Okay. Concrete is used in the rocket silo, but I don't know of any other recipes outside of modded Factorio that require the concrete. So what I might do here is split that line, and then we're going to take off of the line. That might be in the way, actually, looking at this. Because I'm going to have, I'm going to have a miner right there. And these are no big deal. I do need to be careful that I don't place any that are going to mine coal onto the stone line. That would not be ideal. What's going on here? I did not follow the same pattern. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different, but it seems like that's probably what I'm gonna need to do. And that one's fine. Is this 30? It is 23, certainly not 30, so that's not even gonna be a full belt of stone coming out. So we actually should probably underground right there. This is going to make this a bit of a tight squeeze, because I am going to want to bring this stone back out over here. I want the output line to go not in the way of any miners, all the way out here. Let's put the last few. That was 23, so we need at least 7 more. Probably going to want to put a few more than 7. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We will go ahead and simply put all that we can onto this side. And get our undergrounds and power in here. That'll give us more than a full belt's worth of stone, a yellow's belt's worth of stone coming out of here. I don't really need to prioritize the output either side. I'll let it 50-50. The concrete seems to probably be backed up at this point, which is why that's not running. Now, coal. This is the interesting part. I need to get a full belt's worth of coal out, because grenades use an absolute ton. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which means this will be 16. And I'm going to want to come out the bottom side. That means that I'll move this power pole momentarily, the big electric pole. And this one should only be getting coal. that miner is only getting coal. That's good. That means I can get rid of that excessive pole there. This big electric pole I can now move simply to the side. And this is only 16 of the 30 that I need. All I'm going to do is combine the two lines that I'm about to have right there. It might even be more than 2 lines. Let's see here, because I don't think I'm going to have enough room. This one will get nothing but coal. Over here it will get stone and coal, so I'm not going to place one there. This will also get stone and coal. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can barely squeeze that in there. Okay. So this side is 8, this is 7, that's 15, plus the 16, that's 31. That's more than I need, which is good. This should give me a full belt of coal coming out as soon as I get it powered. Cannot reach. I do wish I had squeak through. Okay, so I do need an additional power pole there. I guess I could have underground one more time, but that's alright. We won't sweat it too much. Now we have our line. It's on the outside of our turret row though, which is not ideal. Yeah, I'll grab some more ammunition momentarily. Because I actually am going to want to put just a few more down. This is the power to our base. It is a little important to make sure that nothing interrupts the supply of fuel going to our power plant. It's just a little important, not a whole lot. So I will grab ammunition. Just picking up those miners as I glance past them and realize that they're empty. I'm gonna call that good. That's 600 rounds, or 600 stacks. And then we're just gonna weave our supply lines in. Let's see. Yeah, they can all just have 100. That one has 50. These only had 11 or 12 apiece. Now we're looking at 24, 36, and then the hundreds. I'll take it for sure. This is where our stone line's going to come in. Let's not put it so close in case I need to tap a little bit more coal. I'm wanting to avoid the trees so I don't have to do any more clearing of them. So I'll just come around them there. And I'm just going to let them run together after this point. I'd need them together in order to sneak past. Right over here, I'm going to have to underground. Right, like so. That's too far. There we go. And I'm certainly about to run out of belts, so I will make a quick trip. Wow, run out at an even length? That's crazy. That never happens. But I should have enough room to just pick up all of the belts that were left in this chest. I do believe. We'll find out. Also, keep that thing making piercing rounds. Yeah, I can just pick that chest up. And I still have a few slots. That's perfect. I'm going to use pretty much all of these belts right now, I think, to run these coal and stone lines all the way around. On the outside of the factory. Yeah, this is also going to be outside the turrets. I may need to put some more turrets down out here, which, looking at it, I mean, I'm not even protecting my copper. I wasn't paying attention to that. Yeah, trees. Trees are a thing. And this is how you deal with them. Don't want to damage... Oh, I have a couple of turrets. I don't want to damage these turrets, so... Factorio logic is just amazing. You have trees? You have a lot of trees you want to cut down? Alright, cool. Well, do you have a chainsaw? No, but I have a lot of grenades. I have a lot of grenades. Hold on, wait a minute. Let's backtrack. Cut those lines there, because I'm going to want to underground, and I guess I am going to have to clean this up a little bit right over here. This is going to fill my inventory with inserters. This is where I'm going to need to take these lines in. Okay. These two turrets can be pushed out a little bit. And I'm going to leave that right there. So we'll just run below it in the meantime. We're going to underground here and then turn around and underground there. And I believe that is symmetrical. Unless my head is on crooked, which is possible. Oh man. Wish there was a fast way to pick up belts like there is to just place them running in a line like this. It's very nice to be able to do this. Wish you could pick them up like that as well. That's good. Yeah, see, I was worried that I was going to go a little too far up, and I had, so that taken care of. Boy, these are some really long belt lines to get this stone and coal over here. Just pick this set of belt up while I'm here. Alright. And then I think that's enough space in case I need to underground anything else through this area. At this area right here. And I did the lines the wrong way. Or the resource type here. So I need to stop this and figure out what I'm going to do here, because that's supposed to be stone and I put stone on the outside line. What you get for getting distracted. That's alright. All I'm going to do is this and use an underground to pass right through. And that still gets me the stone where it needs to go. Right? Yep, it's going to come up, break off, and go over there. Coal is going to continue coming up. And then both of these lines, like I said, I'm just going to turn them and bring them over to our military science area because I don't believe that I need stone or coal. Well, that's not true. Coal is used in making plastic. But what I'm probably going to do is a dedicated coal line because my plastic is going to be made likely somewhere right down here. I'm going to crack the oil and then I'll probably process oil right over here. Anything that does not require like plates or stuff like that. So sulfuric acid takes an iron plate, right? So I might do that in a more localized area, or should I take some copper and iron down there? We'll figure that out later. Right now, I'm just going to turn those lines and dedicate them over here. So we want to make science. military science to be specific. Military science takes 10 seconds, but it will make 2 in that 10-second time. So I think what we're going to do is, let's see, we're making red science down here. That's 1 a second, that's 2 a second. So I'm probably going to want to keep pace with 2 a second. Right? So if it takes 10 seconds to make 2, it makes 1 military science in 5 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes 1 a second. And then we need another 5. So for a total of 10. And wait, 10 seconds. That's going to make... Oh, yeah, 2 a second. Okay. Had to stop and think for a moment. And I actually probably should have pushed that up a little bit. Blue chemical science takes 24 seconds to craft, makes 2. That means it's going to need 12 on it. Now there are 3 inputs to this one. I was thinking about doing a setup like this where I mirror the assemblies here, but there is a lot of complication to that for these. We're having more inputs, we've got odd times on the crafts, so I think what I'm going to do here is just have this be a dedicated line. Again, I can use regular inserters. We don't have to worry about the time to feed this stuff in. There are, what, 3 different ingredients. You need 2 walls, 1 grenade, 1 piercing round. So you only have to put 4 items into it in 10 seconds. That's very easy to do. Now, we're going to need power over here. I'm making a mess out of things. Let's see. I guess I'm just going to rip all those up. I was trying to be very efficient with the power poles again, but it doesn't work out exactly how I want it. I do want them to be lined up nice and neatly. So we're just, wait, why? Why would you do such a thing? Thank you. Alright, so, actually that's not even right, because I've got 3 ingredients. I am going to need long-handed inserters for the input on that side. Before I worry about making my power poles all pretty, I should probably get the inputs and outputs correct. I don't need any other inserter types. That's what I was glancing at there. I have loads of the extra ones. I just ran out of the long-handed. So now, this is the thing that gets me with these though. It's going to make me offset them just a hair. And then the last one I can just put in there. It's going to look a little bit off, but it will work. So we need 1 wall every 5 seconds for one of these. I need 2 walls a second, right? So how fast does this make walls? And walls are actually made out of stone bricks. I did not think about that. I'm sending stone up here. Walls are made out of stone bricks, right? Yes. So, do I guess, since I've already got the resources here, I'm going to locally smelt stone for this. And that's alright. It's not what I would normally do, but that's okay. Again, it's been a long time since I've played Factorio, so this is a good refresher. And lights. Put lots of lights down. Got to remember to do that. Feels weird, but it looks good. Okay, so how fast I can make walls 2 a second, which is what I need from one assembler, it looks like. I just need to make sure that that assembler has enough stone bricks. Now the other item, the thing that's going to get you here is going to be the piercing round magazines. That's super expensive to make a piercing round. You're going to need a long assembly line for those things. I think what I'm probably going to do is put walls on this outer belt here, which means I can simply drop that assembler down here, tell it to make walls, and with a fast inserter you will take out. Now, I need stone being smelted into stone brick, and that going into this machine. So the question here is just how long does it take that to work? We are going to simply feed in like so, take out on the other side, and do I need to skip a space here? This is going to end up taking a lot of space if I don't slide it down. That works out perfect. I don't know exactly how many of these I'm going to need in order to feed this with 5 stone bricks consistently. We're going to start with that, fire it up, and see if that's able to keep up. In fact, just to keep it neat and organized, let's push it out like so. So I can use one power pole in between. And now all I've got to worry about is getting stone and coal onto this line. I'm also going to need iron and other items. Let's go ahead and expand our bus out some. Right here, this is going to be all the stone, but I only want to split off the coal. Right, because we don't need stone for anything else. So that will take the entirety of the stone on down the line, and I've run out of undergrounds. Let's go grab those. There we go. Click the right button, because this stone that's breaking off earlier, yeah, that's good. Might be a good idea to buffer these walls down at the end, which is another good reason that I ended up... how many should I buffer? Let's do 2 rows. I mean, when you need walls, you usually need a lot. 2 full rows is probably good. But now we need to look and see, is this going to be enough? And it does not look like it is. So we're going to need maybe just 2 more smelters, 2 more steel furnaces making stone bricks. Let's see, before I start putting things on the ground, let's go get some belt down. That might be enough to keep this running at full speed. Now, what will change is if I ever upgrade this to a higher level assembler, but I can simply expand this out, so it's not the end of the world. Another question is, am I going to get enough stone in here to keep this running? I need to eyeball this for just a second. I think it is, because you can see the line stopping. It pauses momentarily as the stone rolls in and hits a point where it's caught up. Next question, is one inserter fast enough? No, it is not. So, 2 inserters should be, if we're making enough brick, which we are still not making enough brick. Okay. This is why I wanted to eyeball this. I didn't sit down and calculate it, do any math on it. So I just want to make sure that it's working. I'm really glad that I slid that down one more row now, because this fits in here nice and neat. That, I do believe, will keep this thing running full speed once that gets going like it should. It's not quite, it's still slightly paused. Okay, well, we just expanded out some more. This is going to end up using an awful lot of resources just to keep walls producing. Okay, that has to be enough. And now we're hitting the issue where we don't have the throughput that I need on the one side of the belt, which is what I thought was probably going to happen. I did not know for sure, but it's a pretty good chance when you're trying to move this amount of stone. Okay, let's go. I'm certainly going to set up at least the red belt automation real fast. Let's take care of that, because this is going to take an exceptionally long time. So for this, and here's the issue, is I actually need to use these lines. I think what I'm going to do is come to the bottom side, which is going to be a little bit odd, but I am going to make it work. So we're just going to drop down here, say I want belts, which I have the resources right there for. And that'll get that crafting. We're going to directly pass into here. You just need gears. And now we've got reds being made. It's not going to be in line with the mall over there. I mean, I guess I could. No, it's alright. I was going to run a line around and over here and put a box there just so it's in line, but that's okay. I will make it. We're going to drop a box here and a power pole. I don't want to consume all of my resources to make reds, so I will restrict that to 4 stacks right now and leave that running. Simple, easy, let it go. Nothing, no need for a complicated mess of things. Alright, but now we're looking good. This definitely should be running at full speed. Is it really pausing from time to time? Just barely. How many does this need? This needs 5. It needs okay, so that's the issue. You need 10 bricks a second, right? I'm not going to get 10 bricks a second on one side of a yellow belt, even if I were to expand this out. The most you're ever going to get is 7.5, and we're getting really close to that 7.5 over there. So this is not going to run at full speed unless I were to do this and then add a few more in, which we're going to do it. We've already committed. We've already committed to making this happen. Let's look at this. Make stone brick. Where does it show how long it takes? 3.2 seconds. to make 1 stone brick. And the steel furnace has a crafting speed of 2, so it's 1.6 seconds. Alright. Here we go again. This is... ooh. Okay, so I can fit 2 more smelters in here, and then I don't want to go any further in this direction. Hopefully, this will get us where we need to be. If I can even supply that amount of stone down this red line. Let's watch it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's not a lot's going to happen because my output belt's half yellow, half red. How many do we have? Okay, it said 1. I grabbed it out of the inserter because I was sliding on a belt, not the box itself. For a moment, my brain said, wait a minute, this whole time and you've made 1? Something is not right there. Okay, now we're talking. And actually, looks like we don't need these last 2. Because this set, oh, this set isn't running because I'm not getting enough stone. But I think what I can do is shrink it down. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of them crafting. Right? That should be roughly what we need. Actually, it might be slightly less than we need. But that's okay. Yeah, because you can see the gap is getting closer and closer to these. And then these will fill in that gap when they can. I think we're good now. That is running like I need it to. That's using an awful lot of stone. And the issue that we're going to have is the moment that I start crafting rail in the mall down there, I'm going to be eating into the amount of stone that I have available to smelt into stone bricks. But the mall should only run until I have my buffer, and then only run when I grab the buffer. So it shouldn't be a big ordeal. That gives us the walls. Up next is probably going to be grenades. They are very, very easy to do. It's just coal and plate. So how many grenades do we need a second? It's 1 a second, right? That's what I'm going at? Yeah, I'm going to need 1 grenade a second. And it takes 8 seconds to craft, so that means I need 8 of these machines. I'm probably not going to have enough coal to feed all of these, but we are going to give it a good honest try. And that I'm going to say grenades. I need 8 assembly machines. 2, 3, those are ghosts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm trying to feed the resources, essentially both of them on this side. I need 10 coal and only 5 plate. So you definitely want the coal to be on the inside belt where I will use inserters. It's an 8-second craft time. These are going to be enough. The issue, if I do it like this, is going to be powering these. I don't have room for any power poles. So that means we need to alter our setup slightly like we did down there with the furnaces. We will put our power poles on the inside edge. It makes the assembly line a little bit longer, but that's alright. I don't have to fiddle with anything fancy for powering these. And then we're just going to output on this side. Standing in the way. It's not a good place to be. Now we said the plate needs to be here. So this is iron plate. Let's go ahead and bring it all the way across. We're going to have to backtrack on our lines just a little bit here. Put one there, goes like so, like so. You underground there. Building these balancers is simply a matter of habit. You figure it out after you've built a handful of them. There we go. And then we need to sneak our other line of coal in. This one runs right beside this line. Underground as far as that one will reach, and drop that down. Gets our coal coming in. I'm going to leave enough room to put down an additional assembler here for future expansion if the need arises. So this one is going to need to be grenades and then piercing round ammunition. I can probably just do this. Actually, no. So let's grab that. I'm going to want to buffer both grenades and piercing round ammunition. For the grenades, I'm actually probably going to do this before it goes down to the science. This is going to be a small buffer of maybe like 3 stacks. I'm going to do 2, but that should buffer that. Let's throw that in there. And then the remainder will go on down the line. And by doing that without a filter inserter, I could just use a filter inserter. What I was going to say is I don't want to put the piercing round ammunition, say, like right here, and output onto the bottom side, because then I'll get mixed input, but I can put a filter inserter there and still do that. Let's see. It takes 3 seconds to craft one. And I'm going to need 1 per second. Which means I need 3 of these. This is going to take an awful lot of copper. And then I can feed these things with how many normal firearms. It takes 1 second to make 1. Okay. Well, that's easy. That one will feed all 3 of these. But I think since I'm going to be using piercing round ammunition for a lot of things, what I'm probably going to want to do here is actually probably make it like 6. And then the 2 here are going to make the regular ammunition. Output onto there. Here is where, let's see, steel and the normal magazine rounds should be on 1 run. Okay, but feeding this will be a little bit challenging if I do it like that. Alright, I need to get iron into these. So maybe I put them on the other side, but I need an additional line. Come in. What does it need? 5 copper plates. So the copper plates need to be on this inside line. The steel and regular ammunition needs to be on the top line. So that's not a big deal. We'll just do that. And we're going to output to the side, which means that this will have to be an iron line coming in. And then I do need to go ahead and swap this out. This is going to be grenades, which is under the military tab there. Let's make one more filter inserter. And this one is going to grab us piercing round ammunition. This one, I'm going to say I want a decent buffer. And the reason for that is, again, I'm going to be giving ammo to my turrets, and I'm probably going to be upgrading to the piercing rounds once I get this automated system going. It is more expensive, but the piercing rounds will just chew through the biters. And that's really what I need. So this needs to be copper. Let's go ahead and bring our lines up. And then we can underground where it is necessary. This is going to be a full belt of copper. Then I need steel on the inside of this line here, which means I need the steel to come across right there. Perfect. Then we just need to get iron right here. I probably should go ahead and put the rest of the concrete up so I know where I'm going. Get us another nice balancer. Just barely out of reach to get those last few. Okay. Now we need to power this. And I might actually need a couple more fast inserters. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. It's trickling at first, but now it's moving. Certainly going to want fast inserters down here, and I've run out, so let's grab some more. And then I've got to plug lighting in everywhere where it belongs. Fast inserters. Okay, I cannot wait to have robots to just bring me what I need. Drop in our lighting. Now let's see, how are we running? Oh, I'm thinking here, why don't they have any copper? Because I ran out of inserters and went to go get them. Alright. And the beauty of this here is that I could add a couple of more of the piercing rounds assembly machines right here. And I might actually do that. It would require me to move that inserter down to there to make sure that it is going to get what it needs. And I can drop a couple of more of the regular magazine assembly machines down as well. Let's see. Drop that there. And again, I'm not wanting to go much further that way, so these will simply drop here. This is very much so overkill. And can I get away with just 2? How does that look? That looks like I can do that. When you just ran to the mall and didn't grab everything you need. Feels bad. Okay, and I'm going to swap these out. They don't need to be fast inserters. That'll work just fine. And that should keep the ammunition flowing very, very well. What a setup we have. None of the ammo's going to make it down just yet because I have this right here grabbing it all until the buffer's full. Maybe, just maybe. Because I'm gonna need so much ammo, it's not even funny once we get going. I'm just going to expand this a little bit further, probably expand our normal production. Our production of normal magazines is what I'm trying to say here. And then these, both of these will put down after the buffer, so that means that they're going to get moving. And do I need, how many is this making again? I may not actually need any more of the normal ones because this is making 1 a second. So we're getting 4 a second, and that needs 1, that needs 1, that needs 1, and then I don't even have enough. Okay, yeah. I'm making more than enough of the normal magazines to supply the piercing rounds. And now the buffer will fill up fairly quickly. I mean, just 1, 2, 3 and a third magazines per second. Not truly, because we are moving at the 0.75 crafting speed, but we're getting a little less than 3 a second, which is fine. Hey, we have our first military science rolling out the production line. What I'm going to do is go ahead and get that moving all the way down to here. Let's go ahead and grab some belt. There we go. Plenty of it. And then when we get to chemical science, we can put chemical science on the outside of that belt. But this is a nice setup. I feel pretty accomplished. Got a good bit done in this episode, and I have walls being made, grenades being made, piercing rounds being made, as well as military science. This feels good, feels right, glad to have it. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'm glad you did, and I can't wait to get to the next one, and hopefully you join me for that one as well. I'll see you all next time.